Hi, hello, and welcome to my reselling channel, Flippin' Hippos. I'm Star. Today is Tuesday, so it's time for Tutorial Tuesday. Today, we are going to take a look at List Perfectly's new feature, Bulk Edit. And while we're in there, I'm going to show you some different ways you can bulk edit, the old way, the new way, and other tasks that you can do in your catalog in bulk. When you have a lot of listings, even if you only have a few listings, when you're trying to make a whole lot of changes, it really, really helps to save time to be able to do things in bulk. So this is one of my new favorite features. And I like the old way too. It just depends on what you're trying to do. And in case you're confused, let's go ahead and share my screen so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. What do you mean it depends on what you're doing, Star? What are you talking about? All right, we're going to go over here to List Perfectly. Now, in the past, if you wanted to bulk edit, you could be in your catalog and not have anything selected at all. And up here on the top, you see all these icons. The one with the edit button, quick edit, it has the pencil looking edit icon. You could click that, and then this entire page on your catalog, you can go down and edit your platforms, your SKU, your created, your updated. But keep in mind, up here next to the edit, these three lines, if you hover over it, it says customize. When you have a List Perfectly catalog, you customize what you're looking at. So yours may look different than mine. You may have it in a different order. You can specify what you want shown, and you can put it in whatever order you want. So this is how I like mine. Yours may be a little bit different. And then you can make the column smaller and bigger and make it look however you would want to look. So once you've got your catalog customized, you can do the quick edit and go down and just go in each of these boxes or these drop-down menus and change whatever you want. And then you would hit save. Alternatively, if you only wanted to do 3 or 4 items, you would just select the ones that you want to edit and say quick edit up here. Or once you've selected items, this bar appears on the bottom. It tells you how many you have selected and gives you several choices. Bulk edit, edit selected, listing actions, listing assistant, and delete. The edit selected is what we just looked at. So you can get to that screen once items are highlighted either up here on the quick edit or the edit selected on the bar at the bottom. If you don't have anything selected and you just want to edit this first page, you just click quick edit. All right, hopefully you're still with me. Now, once you have items selected, you can choose bulk edit. This is the new feature that I want to show you. This is really cool. This will change several items all at once. So if you click on price, you can set all of these items to a specific price. You can add X amount to the total. You can subtract X amount, or you can do it by percent. So if you're delisting, relisting, let's say, and you have edited, you want to edit the items and the prices before you delist, relist, you can do it in bulk right here. You can add 10% or take away 10%, whatever you want to do. You can change the brand. You can change the quantity. If you go through these and click each one, some of them have more than one option, like keywords. You can add, remove, or replace all. You can change your notes, or you can append your notes. You can leave the notes you already have and add to them, or change them completely. You can change the color, and you can add a comma to do more than one. MSRP, cost of goods, fees, how much you paid in fees, the assignee. This would be if you have employees on your account. Shipping weight and your shipping dimensions. Now, just keep in mind, this is very, very important. Anything you do in this bulk edit will apply to all of the highlighted items. So if I change the color to red, everything I have highlighted will be red. If I up the price by 15%, it's going to apply to all of them. So this is when you want to make changes to several items across the board that are all the same. If you wanted to change each one separately, you would do the edit selected, and you could go into each box and do them individually. So you can change a bunch of items all at once or a couple in here. But both of these ways will save you time, because if you go this under actions here, this edit button, you can edit individual items from your catalog. You can go through and do that. But that's time consuming if you have a bunch that you want to edit all at once, like 4 or 5. You can do them individually or bulk. Either way will save you time. Now, another thing you can do when you're in this little menu down here on the bottom, and again, this bar on the bottom will pop up anytime you select one or more items. You can do cross listing from here. You can run listing assistant. So if you just imported 20 items and their photos into your catalog, you can do the listing assistant in bulk. The listing assistant is what creates the title and the description using AI. I do them individually because I run the listing assistant as I'm taking photos. I take a photo of an item. I take a photo. I take photos of the item, and as I'm packaging it up and putting it away for inventory, I run the listing assistant right there on my phone. Then when I come to my computer, I got a title I can edit and play with. Always proofread, always edit. Act like you have an assistant or an employee that's creating these listings and you want to go in and edit and proofread. Always do that. But if you don't have a system like mine where I take a picture on my phone, I take pictures of an item, run the listing assistant, then I can come over on my computer and work. If you just take all of the photos and say you upload them using the batch lister. I haven't done a tutorial on the batch lister. If you want to see that, let me know and I will. But the batch lister just allows you to upload a bunch of photos all at once. And then they all show up in your catalog all at once. And this would be where, you know, say like you just uploaded 20 items. This would be where the bulk edit would come into play. Not the bulk edit, but this bar down here, because you can run them all through the listing assistant at once. And of course, you can always delete your items, but I don't want to do that today. So we've talked about how to create a screen where you can edit a bunch at a time very easily like this, instead of going one by one. Or you can bulk edit. There's a lot of options here with bulk editing. You can bulk listing assistant, which is the AI. And the cool thing, this is supposed to be a batch edit tutorial, and I did briefly touch upon batch lister in this tutorial, but you can't really talk about the bulk edit without talking about all this other stuff. But the cool thing about List Perfectly's AI, and I did do a video comparing List Perfectly's AI to other services AIs, and I'll have that pop up at the end. If you haven't watched it, you should, just to see the different options and how things work. But List Perfectly's AI is coded by resellers. So where a lot of the other services AIs are just like a generic AI like ChatGPT or Grok that just kind of write you a description and a title, List Perfectly's AI is specifically coded by resellers for resellers to know how we speak, our verbiage, the keywords we use, the aesthetics we like. It's completely trained like it has the mind of a reseller. So LP's AI is very unique in that it writes listings as if it were a reseller, not just a generic AI. And additionally, it formulates the titles and the descriptions based on the coding behind the scenes that runs the AI but it also does a Google search. So while it's working its AI, it's running a Google search and looking at eBay and all these other listings on other platforms and pulling things and then giving you the very best title and description it can. I think it's the premier AI. I think it's above the rest. You can watch the video comparing them if you want to. And you know what? If you're not using List Perfectly and you watch this video just because you're curious about the things you can do with it, what you can do with List Perfectly is endless. It's not just a cross lister. And I could talk all day about the things it can do, but I think I'm just going to point out the listing parties. The listing parties are Zoom calls that go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are some that are scheduled specific classes that are peer-led that will teach you anything you want to know about reselling. And then there's a 24-hour room you can pop in, hang out with other resellers, or get a question answered if you want. This comes with every single subscription, even the lowest one. Is if you have a subscription, you have access to these. I like to call them the reseller universities, but some of them are just for fun. You can see I host one on Wednesday nights with my friend Jenny. It's just a seller social. It's a work hangout. They have accountability calls every morning. Every single day, you can go in and talk to tech support. All kinds of stuff. So that was a really big tangent. But just to show you the kinds of listing parties you would have access to. I think the cost of your subscription of LP is paid for just with that valuable reseller university, as I like to call it. You can learn almost anything and get any questions answered and be part of a community. But you can also cross list and do a whole bunch of other things. If you have any questions about List Perfectly, let me know. I've been using them since 2019. And I completely, from start to finish, run my business with LP. I don't do a single step or anything along the way, minus accounting, which some people do use List Perfectly for their accounting. So if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to try List Perfectly, you can get your first month at 30% off if you use code FlippinHippos. There'll be a link in the description box for you to try it out if you want. No obligations, no contracts. If you don't like it, you can leave. You can vamoose. All right, I wanted to show you the bulk edit because I was pretty excited about it. And they're always adding new things. That's the other thing I like about List Perfectly. There's always new things, new platforms being added. It's definitely the best investment I've ever made for my business and the best tool that I use. Hey, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Help me feed some hungry hippos. Don't forget to try List Perfectly if you haven't already. Code FlippinHippos. And I'll see you in the next one.